Handmaid's Tale is one of my favorite shows. It doesn't shy away from violence or tough topics, and more often than not, it can be hard to watch, but its nature is that of realness and honesty. One of the things I thought was exceptionally well made is the explanation of how Gilead came to be and how easy it happened. It did take time, and people fought against what seemed to be impossible and inhumane new laws. But in the end, a new type of government rose, and it became the new normal. But how did it happen really? The answer is simple. In the world of The Handmaid's Tale, something terrible started happening. Less and less children were being born. A lot of women couldn't get pregnant anymore, and the ones that could would suffer miscarriages before their pregnancy could come to term. Only but a few still capable of having children, and no one knew exactly why. We were slowly starting to become extinct, and this made people afraid and confused. And in the chaos, a revolution started. A revolution fueled by panic and thirst for control. Nothing as drastic as Gilead can take form quickly. It has to be done step by step. It has to be done by rewiring people's brains and making them believe change is necessary for survival. It has to make them believe there is no other choice. Religion has been used time and time again to manipulate and gain control. And Gilead is only another example, and even when it's referred as a republic, Gilead is nothing of the sort. What began as a new system created to both serve and save a dying country turned into a totalitarian regime that soon evolved into something more sinister, a cult. The architects of Gilead realized they needed total control if they were to seize and retain power. And so they just started making changes to the current system that will ensure just that. From revoking women's rights to making homosexuality punishable by death, little by little they started constructing what they consider a utopia of sorts, based on radical religious beliefs. All in order, or so they will claim, to save humanity. It was clear from the beginning that most people would rebel against their new system. And so they used force and many other methods to keep everyone at bay. Cults have many ways to manipulate, and they often try to target vulnerable individuals, and nothing makes anyone more vulnerable than fear, and so they exploited it. You point a clear problem, in this case infertility, and then you offer a solution. In one episode, we can see how Serena Joy is trying to convince young people that the only way of salvation is through faith and complete loyalty to God. She mentions how a woman's true and only purpose is to have children, and that this is how humanity survives, by surrendering autonomy. They specifically wanted to talk to teens and young people because that's who they thought were the most malleable, the most gullible. In the end, that's not how it worked. Instead, they offered power to those who could help overthrow the current government. And that's how it all started, with the promise of a better world for those who helped rebuild the whole country. Because as I mentioned before, cults have many ways to force control. And one of them is through reward and punishment. Do as we say, you'll be compensated. Refuse, and you'll regret it. The next thing they did was to divide. Us and them, good and evil, men and women, greater and lesser. To those willing to join them, they gave them a sense of belonging and superiority. They also gave them a higher purpose and a clear path, always taking away their autonomy and the need to make difficult decisions, which in their eyes only made their life easier. Everything they did now was forgivable if it was done for the greater good. One example is Aunt Lydia, who tortured everyone who dared say or do anything she deemed wrong. She was free of guilt, for she, in her head, was only carrying out higher commands. And even when she was a lesser in this new order for the simple fact that she was a woman, she happily took her place and did as she was told, simply because she was made believe that she, in her own way, was helping save the world. And for everyone else who didn't comply, the solution was simple: pain and death. For everyone who dared fight Gilead wasn't only fighting a new government, they were also fighting God himself. And so it became a fight of good versus evil, humans versus subhumans. No action could be wrong if it's made in the name of God. And that's how fear, torture, and death became the pillars of Gilead. A utopia that would rather kill you than let you escape.